and welcome to Lady Chanteuse TV. Today I'm going to make a delicious, scrumptious cherry shortcake. So stay with me and I'll be right back. Okay, now I know people make their shortcakes, whether it's for strawberry or cherry or whatever your choice of fruit is, as a cake or as a biscuit. Well, in this recipe, I'm going to make a biscuit as my shortcake base. And so what you're going to need is about 2½ cups of flour. You're going to need about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon, actually I'm going to do about a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and about a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Just level that off. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. You know what, I better do another. Now, what I also like to do is add about a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. So I'm going to just add that in there. Okay. And I'm also, that later. So what you're going to do, you just get a Okay, so what you're going to do is add your dry ingredients in here. Just stir it up. I know some people like to sift in their flour with their dry ingredients, but today we're just going to do it my way. Okay, so you're going to mix that up. And so now I'm going to use about a 1.5 sticks of butter and about another 1/2 cup of lard. Okay, all you have to do is just cut that butter in. It's nice and soft. I've kept it at room temperature. There we go. Just cut in about half of that. And then we're going to do about another 1/2 of, I'm using Cristo vegetable lard. So we're gonna do about a 1/2 cup. Okay. And we're gonna just cut that in. And what I like to do, I like to cut in the butter and the lard with a knife or a fork. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now this is easy because I've kept the butter at room temperature, but in some instances where it's not soft enough, this method is appropriate. Okay, this is where I would use my knife to cut in that butter and that lard. And you just do this until you've got a crumbly looking dough. And this is before I add any liquids. So what I'm just going to I'm going to take my fork now. I'm going to just keep flaking that in, flaking that in with the fork. And just incorporate that with my flour. Okay, just work that in like that. Make sure everything's incorporated. And now that's coming together. So now I'm going to take about a 1/4 cup of milk and just gradually pour that in. And you don't want it too wet to where you can't handle the dough, and you don't want it too dry either. You want just enough to get a wet consistency to where you can handle it without having to use extra flour to prevent stickiness. And you just keep working that in like that. And so what I'm going to do now actually, if I were making a pie crust, for instance, this would be the perfect consistency. This would be what I'm looking for right here. But since I'm making biscuits, what I'm going to do is add in some more milk. Just use the rest of that. And just keep working that in. And now I've got a nice semi-wet dough that I can handle. I'm going to use a little bit of dusting flour so I can handle it. But this is what you want right here. Okay? So let me prepare my surface and we can start working with those biscuits. So I'm going to just take my dough, just flour my hands, and just play with it. This is perfect. Okay. Just knead it. And as you can see, look at that consistency right there. Look at that. This doesn't need a whole lot of work. Now, if you want to take out some anchor on your dough, you could do that. But look at it. You see how pliable it is? So this is just this, and there's no stickiness. This is perfect. So this is just right consistency that you want right here. So what I'm going to do, let me just move this aside. you can, what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically take half that. Now, depending on how many people you're feeding, depending on how many people you're feeding in your family, I mean, you can make quite a few, you can make at least a dozen of biscuits with this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my biscuits a little bit bigger, and I'll probably come out with about six jumbo biscuits. So I'm going to take half that. Alright, so I'm going to just take a part of that and shape my biscuit like that. And as you can see, since we are making a cherry shortcake dessert, this is going to be more than enough for one person as a serving. So we're going to go to my next biscuit and just go ahead and shape that. We'll see how many biscuits we come out with. See how big that is? Yeah, that's, and of course, now I'm leaving a lot of room because I know that the biscuits is going to expand through, due to the leavening. And so 2, 4, 6, I'm thinking 6 biscuits. Well, let's see how this works out. Okay. It's 3. And if you notice, this is a non-stick pan. Grease in a pan is not necessary if it's non-stick. But that's a personal preference. If you want to, of course, if you're working with a pan that needs to be oiled with butter. Okay. Okay, I think my biscuits are getting smaller. Just put that there. And I have one more. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to steal from here. There we go. Now we have our 6 decent size biscuits. Then we'll just fix that. There we go. So I've already preheated my oven to about 350. Depending on your type of oven, it could be 350 or 375, but you don't want to over bake them to where the bottom is dark. So I have mine set at 350, and we're going to let that go for about 15 to 20 minutes. So when we come back, I'll show you the product. Okay. As you can see, the biscuits are done. I just took them out of the oven, and they're nice and golden. Oops. That's what happens when you don't let the biscuit cool. I literally just took them out of the oven. So I don't want to play with it anymore, but I wanted to show you the bottom. See how they're so flaky. But I'm going to let them cool before I continue with the shortcake and the cherry topping. Let me show you what I have here. these are not freezer bought cherries. These are fresh cherries that I pitted and kind of did a medium puree, and so this is going to be the topping on the shortcake. So let's let the biscuit dry, and I'm going to show you how to make a cherry shortcake. We'll be right back. Okay, so the biscuits cooled. I sliced it in half. Now just a little note, keeping the biscuit intact and then applying the cherries on top and then the whipped cream, that's absolutely acceptable. But I cut mine in half, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take I'm going to take my fresh cherries, just ladle that on both slices of the biscuit. There we go. Now, okay, just pour a little bit of that juice on. And take some whipped cream, put about a dollop on that, and there you have it. And there you have it. Cherry shortcake.